robotics. All right, our next speaker is Gérard. Gérard is going to be sharing with us about Logion. Gérard DETHIER. You have until 12:30, and so you have your solid 15 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please give Gérard a big round of applause.
Hello, everybody. So, I have no slides because I will be giving you a little live demo of how we actually work at Logion. So, bear with me. Demo equals demo effect, so there will probably be something that will go wrong. That's normal, it's always the case. So, we were talking about protecting tokens. I will actually talk about the legal protection of your tokens. So, a little bit something that most of the time we try to forget, that when we buy a token, normally there is something else than just the token that's required. You need to know exactly what the token represents, what are the legal and economical stuff which are linked to your token, okay? So that's exactly what we are doing at Logion, sorry. So when you buy a token, you have the possibility to actually, well, first verify, look at the certificate to know exactly what's linked to that token. And those informations are actually stored on our decentralized network and in our blockchain. So that makes sure that that never changes. So as soon as you know what your token represents, well, nobody is able afterwards to say it represents something else. So in my setup, there are 3 people. There is the tokenizer. The tokenizer is the person which will actually, well, tokenize the art piece, for instance. I'm using the example where I am actually, well, I have an NFT. I have some files attached to it that I want to disclose only to the owner of the NFT, all right? So the tokenizer is the person that will actually, well, mint the token and prepare everything at Logion side to actually create the certificate and prove that everything will be fine. The MetaMask address here is basically the guy which will buy the token. And the judicial officer, that's a guy which is actually there to certify that indeed, well, he will not certify, but he will somehow write on chain that indeed he received all the required proofs telling that indeed there is some art piece behind a given token. So as I have only 15 minutes, I will not be able to show you the very whole process. So I'm taking a starting point, which is basically, as a tokenizer, I have been identified by the judicial officer. I got some certificate for that. And I created something that we call a lock, which is basically a kind of digital case in which we will store all the proofs that are required to actually make the token, well, legally protected, all right? So for instance, here I'm protecting an NFT. So what I got is a document which is basically describing what this collection is about. So here it's the Paris.com 2023 demo collection. Cool. I've got some other data, for instance, the address that actually will publish the smart contract, the address that will actually mint the token, and some documents. So essentially the contract that is binding me as a tokenizer to the artist that actually produced the art piece, and another document which is describing exactly what the token is about. So it's basically saying, okay, that's an NFT, and by buying that NFT, that gives you the right to receive some digital asset that will be protected. And here there is also a link to the proof of identity of the artist. All right, so I decided to mint my NFT on Polygon. All right, so here that's the contract I used. It's a, standard ERC 1155 contract. Nothing special here. The only thing that's a little bit interesting is that part. So basically we are providing a smart contract that you can extend. And that's basically here to link your smart contract to the collection lock, all right, that I just showed you previously. So the contract, as you see, it's already published, it's verified. I pushed it to Polygon. I was talking about the demo effect. So here I wanted to show you exactly what those functions that my contract implements are actually doing, and I realized that polygon scan is a little bit, well, not working for the moment, so sorry. It's just spinning, and that's it. But whatever, actually those functions, they are giving you the URL of the certificate that we will generate now, and that's something that we will do. And here I'm just showing you one last stuff. It's basically that I actually minted the token. It's indeed, I am the holder here. So that address, you see, it's the same address as here, all right? So I will be able actually, as the owner of the token, to have access to the digital asset, which is not available to other people. So first, I will actually import my token. So maybe I will show you one little stuff. So that's the magnificent piece of art that I'm actually buying, okay? You look, you see, it's the Polkadot color, so very important, right? Same as your hand first. And I produced actually a CSV file, which is essentially describing this. So here, that's an ID. Theoretically, that ID is something that's generated by the smart contract, but as Polygon scan is a little bit broken, I will not be able to show you that now, sorry. A little description, yeah, it's a smile, of course, file name, nice smile. It's PNG image size, the file hash. Do I want to do some restricted delivery? Of course I want. What is the token type? Well, it's a Polygon Mumbai token, so I'm playing with a testnet, of course, here. How do I identify that token? Well, basically here, it's quite simple. It's the address of the contract, and in addition to that, the ID of the token. So here, the token is the 0 token. Issuance, well, it's an NFT, so I chose an issuance of 1. Are there terms and conditions associated to the token? Yes. I decided to choose what we call a Logion classification. It's a kind of Creative Commons, but when it's not completely public stuff, right? So here I'm actually giving the parameters of how how me as an artist, I allow people that actually buy my token to use the digital assets that I will receive. All right, so that's the CSV file that I will actually import here, and here we go. So I will just have a look to verify that everything is right. So I see that, yeah, smile, that's indeed my file. The name, the type, the hash, the size, everything seems to be okay. The underlying token, right, terms and conditions, perfect. So let's do the thing. I'm importing that stuff. It will cost me some tokens, of course, login tokens. I will sign as the tokenizer. Yeah, of course. So here we are actually writing those information, part of them at least, on the blockchain. So what we are writing are essentially hashes and some information which will be shown as well as such. And those are actually the public part of the proofs. And once that's actually uploaded, I will be able now to actually upload the file. That file will, of course, not be published on the blockchain, right? That we will store it in our decentralized and protected encrypted storage network. So here I'm taking my nice smile. The system is actually checking behind everything here that the hashes actually, well, match, okay? So that the file that I just uploaded is indeed the file that was described in the item. So here we are done with that. So what we get, and of course, yeah, okay. What we get here is now an additional item in the collection. And more importantly, what I get is a certificate. Here we go. So we have a nice Logion certificate. So that's a nice web page, which is actually giving you, telling me everything that I need to know before I would buy the token. Okay, so here's some information about the Ethereum address that actually, well, published the contract and minted the token. There are some proofs of the documents. So if I get some of those information offline, I would say I can verify that everything is here. And I have here the collection item, which is actually telling me, okay, this is the token. This is the type of token, the issuance. Is there a restricted delivery? Yes, of course. And are there files? Yes, there is one file. How do I get access to that file? Well, I have to identify myself. So here I'm just using MetaMask. I'm signing, boom. And actually here, what the system did is first check that indeed I am the actual owner of that address first, okay? So that I have access to the private key, which is linked to the public address, the public Ethereum address. And second, it's actually checking that I am indeed the owner of the token. And as both points are okay, what I get here is the ability to claim my asset, so to download the file. So that's what I'm doing now. I am starting to download, and I am now the very happy owner of that digital asset, which was actually protected. And well, basically, that's it. So as you can see here on the certificate, you see in plain English all the stuff that were parameterized in the CSV file that we shown. So what can I do with that? Well, not very much, actually. I will have to keep that smile for me because it's only for personal and private use. Yeah, that's it. I will only be able to use it in Belgium in French and stuff like that. So that's the kind of stuff that you can actually define, I mean, when you are actually protecting your token. And basically, that's it. So if you have any question, feel free. Yeah.
I see thank you. Hi. I see there is an officer sort of certifying the item or the asset.
Yeah.
How do we know which officer? Is it geolocated somewhere? Do you know which person has validated the document?
Yeah, okay, so that's something I did not show, but basically when you are creating the lock, so the digital case, what you will do when you request protection is to actually, well, let's say I'm doing, again, an art NFT. I will have to choose among a list of legal officers. Well, here I have only one because basically I identified myself only with one other judicial officer. But it will probably depend on the place where you are located. If you are in France, for instance, you will probably try to join a French judicial officer. There is a list of available judicial officers. So here to have the full list, if I want to identify myself, actually, yeah, well, let's pick this one. Poof. Here I can select other regular officers. So I'm already identified with Alice, so she's not showing up. So here there is still Bob and Charlie, which are available. And if I identify myself to them, so I will just create my identity request. They check that indeed I'm the right person. They actually create my identity lock. And starting from that point on, I can actually create a collection with them. Normally, so if I'm starting over. So here, when I'm actually contacting an officer and create something, I have several possibilities. I would like, for instance, to identify myself as an individual. If I start here, let's say I'm creating I'm just providing some stuff. So up, just to give you an example. Up, pim, 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 pim. So here, I actually create a draft request. And here, there are some documents that I have to provide. So for instance, yeah, identity lock process obligations. So there is a document that you will have probably to first download, sign, and attach to the case. There is also a proof of identity. So for instance, a copy of your ID card. And then once you have all of that, you submit the stuff to the judicial officer. If it's okay for him, he will probably have to verify that indeed it's the right person at the other side, so we'll probably have to call you or something like that. But that depends. That really depends because well, basically depending on the country you are in, the rules are not exactly the same. That really depends. Welcome.
All right, thank you so much, Gérard. Please give him a big round of applause. Interesting stuff. Very cool live demo as well. Very well done. Very, very